That was a real story. If you saw that in the news, they were having us wear fucking plastic bags. A little background about me. I actually worked at GameStop. I think I said this briefly earlier. Worked at GameStop for 3.5 years, so I have a lot of general game knowledge. After that, I actually worked for Microsoft Game Studios in video game development. I can't say what games I worked on in particular, and I might have to contact my previous boss of being able to share that information, whether or not I can or not. That's up to them. But yeah, I've worked on a current in-process game that has already been released. In my opinion, it was really fun. I spent probably a little under 10,000 hours on that game, and I'll definitely stream it if I get the chance to be able to talk about it and like share knowledge about it. It's not super well known, but I definitely had a fun time working on it, and the team behind it was really cool. And no, it was not Halo. It was not Halo. But yeah, just due to NDAs. But yeah, a little bit more about GameStop. I worked at GameStop during the first initial outbreak of the beautiful thing that we all know and love, COVID. Don't really want to talk about COVID. Worked at GameStop during that process, and that's what made me really not want to be in retail anymore, because not only did GameStop have a really huge problem right before COVID, but they were even shutting stores down and making them online only. And we were met with a lot of restraints on what the business could do, and even furthermore, we were even forced more so to push sales even harder than we already were when we had the store open. So that was exciting. Yeah, GameStop during that time was not a fun part. Yeah, then shortly right before it happened, we had the holidays. We had Black Friday, then we had Christmas, so then the stores just died because of COVID. That was 2019 to 2020. And the reason why I actually went to the game development job is actually because I was laid off from GameStop. My store closed for about a month or so. I was out of work. Pretty difficult to get used to. I think at that time I was just playing a lot of Call of Duty, a lot of Warzone. I was just playing a lot of Warzone. And it wasn't like I didn't have money saved up, right? Like, I had money saved up to be okay for the month, but it just sucked not having work to go to and be able to pay bills with income versus savings. Which I'm sure we've all had a problem with at some point. I remember a few instances of working at GameStop where I've had unpleasant customers, but it wasn't ever really the customers that were ever the issue. It was mainly corporate. Corporate was definitely the deciding factor in why I resigned from GameStop. It was just the unrealistic like expectations, like just constantly. They were just like pounding these, sell these cards, sell these reservations, get these trade-ins, like it was just non-stop. It was almost incessant. Never could really understand like what the motive was behind it. I understand that it's a brick and mortar retail store, and honestly it's probably more scummier than a used car lot, but at the same rate, I sell video games to children. That was my motto, you know. I was an assistant store manager. I was actually a store manager in training during the time that I got laid off, and I was actually about to be promoted. I just didn't like the business anymore. Business practice started getting a little scummy towards the end. I mean, they revised it quite a bit. They changed up the pro membership, which I think it's less effective now, but I won't go into that. You don't get your 10% off anymore. You get a $5 reward every month. That's just like... Look, you go into GameStop, you're spending $60. You're telling me I get a $5 reward a month, and if I go there twice a month, I only get that $5 once? It's weird. I don't like it. At least with the 10%, I got 10% off my pre-owned game. And there was an incentive to buy a pre-owned game. Now there's just jack nothing. They don't even give you like... They don't even give the customer an incentive to buy pre-owned anymore. Unless you're going on pro days, which then it's buy two, get one free. But even then, that's still a crappy deal because then you have to buy 2 games. We were just forced to push that thing all day. It didn't matter what the deal was. Oh, and when COVID first started, they had us wear plastic bags on our hands. That was a real story. If you saw that in the news, they were having us wear fucking plastic bags. It didn't come until 3 months after the fact when my store opened back up, and I worked for about maybe a week or 2 before I was like, I'm done. Yeah, plastic bags, man. I also had to buy the mask for the store. My store leader did as well, but initially we did anyway. The company started sending us provisions and stuff, like I said, about a month after we reopened. Like I said, I was there for about 3.5 years, so definitely knew the business pretty well. I knew how to do everything from just shipping, stocking, customers, you name it. I did it. That's not to say that I was a bad employee either. I just didn't want to have to be pushed to do my job well, because I already did the job well. I was in the top of my district pretty much 90% of the time. No one goes that hard 100% of the time, but it didn't phase me. That's just what I did. I just showed up and I talked about video games. It's just what I like doing. And I feel to a certain extent that they took advantage of that. That was an interesting thing too. You get all these young kids in there and their passion is gaming, and then you just kind of crush that, and you know, you force them to basically become a used car salesman. GameStop wasn't always that bad. It was bad during the holidays or during event days, like we would have like the Pokemon trading cards and stuff. Like that wasn't a thing until I'd probably say about my 3rd year in, where we started doing the Pokemon days. But that was also during the same time that the 25th anniversary of Pokemon came out, and Pokemon cards were very scarce. People were scalping them. As always, GameStop doesn't care. They'll just take pre-order after pre-order on anything. They would tell us to take all these pre-orders, then Pokemon Trading Card Company would reach out to the store and be like, hey, we can't fulfill your orders. We got too much, bucko. Then you have to call your customers, tell them that you can't fulfill your order. Thank you for calling GameStop, your one-stop shop for all your gaming needs. A very common thing I would always hear is like, so you guys are going out of business? No. It's like, what are you talking about? I have a job going on. You're coming in here giving me money so you can go buy things, aren't you? So no, we're not going out of business. Is the company struggling? Yeah, it was. Did they come back? Oh yeah, they came back. But that wasn't because of their own fruition. That was mainly due to a bunch of neckbeards on Reddit. Scalping them back, essentially. Let me be honest with you. Those CEOs don't deserve it. Because you wanna know what they did? Yeah, let's go to the moon. Yeah, those CEOs at GameStop don't deserve it. Because you wanna know what he did as soon as he cashed out? Yeah. As soon as it was done, and GameStop was more of a profitable company, at least to the shareholders, CEO sold it out. And he said, I was done with that shit. And he got lost. After he was talking so big about how he wanted to fix the company and restart it and get it to be anew. It was just a bunch of PR. Which I thought was hilarious. Oh, I'm so screwed. No, I'm not. I was genius. That's what they all did with GameStop previously. That's why it's in such a shit state it is because it's just been the poster board child of a bunch of CEOs. Just, yeah, it's not my fault. I want to make it clear, it's not my fault. GameStop was not my fault. I can't tell you how many times throughout history that they've had a new CEO. We actually didn't even have an actual CEO for months one time. Like we just had a board of directors and that was it. So nobody was really making the shots and the pipeline was dead. Like there was no one sending out store messages and it was like everybody for themselves, like a few months. It's kind of funny to me, honestly. Oh no. Don't hurt me. Ow. Okay. GameStop was not my fault. I did everything that I could, at least for my store. And that's not to go without saying that there was some hardworking district leaders out there and region leaders that wanted to make the business like good. But I feel like it was the pressure from their bosses and the board of directors not really knowing what they want. It was a huge part of my life. My first full-time job, my first actual long-term job as well, and pretty much the first job that I was good at. And I can say that I was like pretty decent. Not too many times you get to say that you're really good at your job and mean it, of course. There's people that say they're good at their job all the time and then they're actually just trash. Oh, don't even get me started on not having cleaning supplies. When all of that first started, speaking of COVID, we didn't have the correct cleaning supplies for the stores because I'm sure you guys all heard by this point that hand sanitizer doesn't work, or Lysol doesn't work, or I don't know, all-purpose cleaner, what have you. But you need rubbing alcohol, like actual rubbing alcohol to disinfect surfaces that COVID was on at the time. I don't know if that's still true. I haven't really been in public for 2.5 years. So we didn't have rubbing alcohol store that I was in. So I had to go get it from like Walmart that was down the street. The company paid me back for it, of course. You know, there's a whole reimbursement thing. If you buy something for the store, you just add it to the cart or whatever on the pen pad. So not only did we not have masks or gloves in a time where Walmart didn't have masks or gloves because everybody was freaking the fuck out. Going to Walmart at the time during the pandemic without masks or gloves or hand sanitizer or any of that really being in stock, you didn't really have an option. It just wasn't available, and we would have to wait for GameStop to send it to us at our location. There'd be often times where we just didn't have the correct cleaning supplies, and it's not that we had an unsafe environment. We did the best that we could. You know, we made sure to wipe it down twice as hard, but when you don't have the correct chemicals or what have you during the time that we thought we needed, I don't know if that's still true. Like I said, we never got COVID, thankfully, at our store. My boss ended up getting it after I left. I think the best part about working there was definitely like the midnight releases, having everybody come in to pick up their game at 9 p.m. I thought that was always really cool. I loved it as a kid. I loved seeing like all the kids come in, they're all smiling, they're all ready to go play their game for the next like 70 hours while they stayed home from school the next like few days. It was the coolest thing. Was it stressful having 150 people at your store? Oh yeah, it was really bad. But was it worth it to see that kid's expression when he picked up that Black Ops? Oh yeah, worth it, man. 100 times over. Because you knew that kid 7 months ago when he came in to order the game, and now he's here to pick it up from you. Not necessarily just sold it to him, but that he was really passionate about, that he wanted to buy it, and you had that conversation with him. That's, I don't know. I wish somebody was on the other end of the counter doing that to me while I was a kid. That would have been so cool. I never really got that at my local GameStop. Everybody was pretty much dead inside. I remember I came over to buy Final Fantasy. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was like... Okay, contrary to popular opinion, Final Fantasy 13 is not a bad game. Just want to throw that out there. Okay, cut. Final Fantasy 13 was the game that I went to go buy, and that chick behind the counter was like, oh, that one sucks. And I was like, isn't your job to sell me video games? Like, the only reason why you're here is to sell kids video games, and you're just gonna say, oh, that one sucks. You need to try better. Do better. Not just for me, but for yourself. That was heartbreaking to hear. It's like, oh, she just called the game that I bought it. Oh, well, I didn't buy it. My dad bought it, but I got it anyway, and I ended up liking it. Final Fantasy 13 was great. I thought 13-2 was okay, and Lightning Returns was, yeah. But it's not that the game was bad. The game was good-ish. It just, Final Fantasy 14 shit the bed at the same time when it originally released. Following that, if you work at a GameStop and you're watching this, don't tell that kid his video game sucks. Be better. Be better.